What's up, guys? Welcome back to Kitchen Court Cases, where we watch court in my kitchen. And tonight, we have a creepy landlord TPO case. I'm just going to tell you right from the start, we do not get resolution on this case, folks. So if you don't want to be there for that, just say goodbye now.
I think both parties were here for that.
Buckle in. It's quite a ride.
Yes. All right, number 4.
Yes.
Jamie Butler, now known as Jamie Sky, as petitioner, and Lance Benson as the respondent in this case. It's case number 23-000196. And we have Ms. Sky is present. Ms. Somerville is here representing her. Mr. Benson is here. I believe Mr. Benson has somebody that he wishes to testify. Was that Jacob Pope? Is that right, Mr. Benson?
Yes, correct.
All right.
And we would ask that Mr. Pope be put in a waiting room while other parties testify so that he doesn't hear other testimony.
All right. Mr. Benson and Ms. Sky, would you each raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth in all matters related to this issue today?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, Ms. Sky, Ms. Somerville has questions for you.
Ms. Sky, in your petition, you talk about the shower. Can you tell us what happened?
Yeah, on December 7th of last year, Lance asked if he could come over to my apartment to take a shower because his hot water tank was broken. And I said that he could. And I told him to bring a towel because I didn't do any laundry and I didn't have any clean towels. And so he came over to take a shower, and I didn't feel comfortable with this. I didn't want him to, but I said that he could. And so he came over and he took a shower, and this was during the daytime. And he was in the shower. I was in my living room. I was watching TV, and the shower was running, and he called my name from the shower. And so I stood by the bathroom door. It was shut, and I said, yeah, responded to my name being called. And he said, open the door. And I opened it just a little bit, like this much. So I peeked in, and he said, open the door all the way. And I didn't. I still kept it open just a little bit. And he said to get in the shower with him. And I said no. And he said, come on, get in the shower. And I didn't. And I felt very uncomfortable with that and very gross. And he was exposed also. And he said, let's get each other clean. And anyway, I just shut the door and I went back out to my living room.
And was he someone you had been dating?
No. We never dated or anything like that. No.
Was anybody else present at this event?
No, just my dog. And my dog.
You've heard that Jacob Pope is going to testify. Was he present?
I don't know who Jacob Pope is.
After that incident, did respondent harass you?
After that, after that day happened, he never said anything about that incident. He acted like that never even happened after that day. But yeah, he always made comments to me about inappropriate things. So he would say things like about going to his work and wearing like a French maid costume, or cleaning his work in a French maid costume or outfit rather, or topless, or he'd make comments about my body or about my chest. He would
What
make
kind of comments about your body or chest?
he asked if my boobs were real. He would make comments about certain sweaters that I wore, like that certain sweaters looked better. My chest looked better in certain sweaters. He would say things like, try to make bets with me, and whoever lost would owe the other person back rubs. He had said to me that he would prefer like a good hand job as opposed to oral sex. I don't know, just I don't know, stuff like that.
Did he ever call you excessively?
Yeah, he would call me. He would call and hang up the phone. If I didn't return his call, then he would just keep calling.
And did he have any legitimate reasons to be calling you?
No, it never had to do with, it was always personal. It never had to do with the landlord issues, maintenance issues. It was always personal reasons.
And he's your landlord?
He is my landlord, yes.
Did he ever send a text saying he would do something?
The day that he came in my apartment, he said that he was worried about me. The text said, "I'm worried about you. I'll be there. I'm coming over in 5 minutes." And that was on Wednesday, June 28th, the day that he came in my apartment.
And how did he come in your apartment?
First, he started banging on my front door, and I was working. I work from home for Regents Insurance. And then I didn't answer the door. I was working. I had my headset on and I was online with my coworkers and supervisors. But and then I heard him. He was in my apartment and he was saying, "Jamie." And I took my headset off and I logged off the camera and I shut my computer off. And I went around the corner. By the time I went around my corner, my dog was barking. By the time I went around my corner, he was already in my apartment, inside my apartment. And he was inside the dining room and proceeding to continue to walk in. By that time, I was already around the corner and I had met him.
Do you know how he got into your apartment?
Yeah, my door was locked. The deadbolt and the actual doorknob. So he used his management keys to get in.
Has he made any threats against you?
Well, he would always threaten like to do welfare checks on me if I didn't return his calls or texts on time, or like he would always say that he would do welfare check on me, or threaten eviction, just things like that if I didn't comply with certain things.
Were those things he wanted you to comply with, terms of the lease?
Right, yeah.
So he threatened to evict you if you didn't abide by the lease?
Oh, well, no, I mean, no.
So let me rephrase that. Were you in compliance with the lease when he threatened eviction?
Oh, yes. Yes.
So what kinds of things did he threaten eviction for?
Well, he would just, I guess, hold over my head that, that was something that he could do.
And what kinds of things did he demand you do to avoid being evicted?
Well, I guess one thing, I signed over my car to him. So he definitely took advantage of me financially.
Why did you sign over your car to him?
Well, he said I didn't pay rent. I did pay rent. Just things like that. I actually signed over 2 vehicles to him, 2 of my vehicles. But.
And whose idea was it to turn the vehicles over to him?
Well, it was definitely his idea.
Has he done anything to your payment record?
Oh, he's manipulated my payment records.
How so?
Well, on one of the payment ledgers, he gave me credit for the car, and then he took credit off of there. So he did give me credit for the car that I signed over to him, and then he didn't. He received $1,000 in rental assistance, but he didn't credit the ledger for that. It's completely manipulated.
Will it show up on the ledger one day and not the next?
Mm-hmm. Yes. He's also charged me, I think it was the month of May, he charged me additional $700 for rent.
I have no further questions.
Thank you, Ms. Somerville. Mr. Benson, before I get to you, I'm going to ask a couple questions myself. How long have you lived at that apartment? I guess it is.
I don't live there. I've
No,
managed
Mr.
it.
Benson, you wait. I'm talking to
Oh.
Ms. Sky at this point.
Oh, I apologize. I'm sorry.
All right. Ms. Sky, how long have you lived at that apartment or house, whatever it is?
I've lived here at this apartment for about 1.5 years, I believe.
And you've always been timely with your rent?
I haven't paid this month's rent, but I do have it. And I haven't done that because there's some issues with him specifically, and the ledgers and his rental fraud. So that's why, but I do have it.
How much contact do you have with him on a daily basis?
I don't.
How long have you worked from home? The whole 18 months that you've been there?
I've worked at this company since my hire date was May 19th.
Of this year?
Of this year, yeah.
And prior to that, did you leave the apartment to go to work, or did you work at home there too?
Prior to that, I was just kind of odd jobs, I guess. And then my daughter was here, living here.
So would you routinely see him once a day, once a week? How often?
I probably saw him maybe once a month, maybe, but he would call a lot and text and things of that nature.
And did you accept his calls, or did you just reject them?
I would, this last year, probably I would try to reject it a lot. And often. And each time I do, there's repercussions to that. By repercussions, I mean, I wouldn't get my dishwasher installed. I wouldn't get my sink fixed. My daughter still has mold in her room. My daughter's heater has never worked since we moved in. She has no heat in her room. I have noticed that it's way better to be on his good side as opposed to his bad side. I've seen what he does to his tenants. He has gone into his tenants' apartments and has taken their stuff out of their apartments and evicted them himself without sheriffs or an actual legal eviction. He's done that. I've watched him. He's a dangerous person. So I know how he is.
All right, let me ask you this question. In the incident that you discussed where he came into your apartment, by your terms, using his keys to get in, when did that occur? Did you say that occurred in June?
Yes, it was June 28th.
And when you confronted him in your apartment, what did he say or what did he do?
I came around the corner and he was in the dining room proceeding to walk forward, still continuing to enter my apartment and come more in. My dog was barking and I said, get out, I'm working. And I had my arm up like this, to make contact with him to, get him out. And he took a couple steps backwards and he did leave. And I called 911 after to report that incident. It was frightening. It was scary. And then an officer did come later and took a report after work. I think it was either that day or the next day. That's something that he would always threaten, was a welfare check to come in and make sure that I was okay. And if I didn't return his text, return his call in a timely manner. And it was usually within a day or two. And, he finally did it. He actually came in. And
do you know whether the police charged him with anything based on that incident from June 28th?
An Olympia police officer came and he said that, I have a case number. I don't know the status of it. He did say something about a criminal trespass. He took pictures of my phone about how many times that Lance was calling my phone. The officer took pictures of the personal email that Lance had sent me. And for evidence of that, also Lance was calling my daughter's phone and hanging up. The officer doesn't have proof of that, of course, because I don't have my daughter's phone here, but he did gather some evidence of that.
All right.
I don't know the status of it though. And I can guarantee you that Jacob Pope was not there. There was nobody there with Lance. Absolutely nobody. Just him.
And you don't know who Jacob Pope is?
I have no idea who Jacob Pope is.
All right. Mr. Benson, do you have any questions for Ms. Sky before you make a statement? You're muted, Mr. Benson.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have any questions. This is just bizarre, but I don't have any questions. I just have my statement and my evidence.
So, Mr. Benson, now you can go and tell me your side of the issue.
Okay. Wow, a lot of this is new to me. So I just went with what was on the paperwork and tried to defend myself and have rebuttals on that. But what I want to say is I've managed those apartments, I think, for about 8 years. I've been in property management for 19 years. I met Jamie In 2019, she was homeless and she was living in her vehicle. She told me she was wrongfully evicted, and I listened to her story, and I thought, yeah, it did sound like she was wrongfully evicted just from what she told me. She kept coming into my office and asking for a rental. And I said, you know, if something comes up, I would consider renting to you, but you would, you know, you would have to have a job first. Then she got onto the rapid rehousing program, and she said that she had that. And I said, okay, I would consider that. So I ended up renting to Jamie on February 1st of 2020 over at the Evergreen Park Apartments, which is just down the road from the apartment that she lives at now. So about a year later, the Evergreen Park Apartments were sold, and I was let go from that job. So I only managed just the Timbers West and then a bunch of single family homes in Olympia. A few months later, she said that the management was horrible there. She was terrified and scared. She was scared she was going to be evicted because I believe she was kicked off the program that she was on, the rent assistance program. So she was scared she was going to be evicted. She said, please, I really just want to follow you over to Timbers West. I want to be under your management again. And I said, you know, Jamie, I've seen your apartment. It's really trashed. I said, you would really have to like do better if I ever decided to rent to you again. And she said, yes, I will do better. I'm just going through some mental stuff right now. So eventually an apartment did open up. She had a little bit of savings and she moved over. So she followed me over to the Timbers West Apartments. So she lived there, let's see. Yeah, so it looks like, oh yeah, she moved in January 1st of 2022 is when she moved in. So then, you know, down to the accusations, I want to point out where she said that I called her repeatedly. So if you could look at Exhibit 1A, I have no idea what she's talking about. This is super bizarre. I mean, if you just look at the phone logs, she called me.
Your Honor, I object. I have not received any exhibits.
Is this something new that you filed, or was this your response?
This was my response, and so this was.
I was not served with any response.
I didn't know there was an attorney. I had no idea.
Well, then Ms. Guy should have been served.
It just says that I email. I need to email the court.
Hold on a minute, Mr. Benson.
Okay.
Mr. Benson, you filed those exhibits today?
No, it was on, it was last week. I believe it was Friday. I had just a lot of stuff going on. So I think I submitted it on Friday.
Looks like they didn't find their way to the file until this morning at 8:19.
And Your Honor, I thought anyone could email the court. I heard the other cases where people submitted exhibits, but are we supposed to serve those exhibits to the
Other
side?
party, right? So they can respond to that. You've heard Ms. Sky testify to a number of things she would have been able to respond to the things that you put in your documents as well. So I think Ms. Somerville is correct in that either Ms. Sky or her should have been served with this. So I'm looking at the file, and Ms. Somerville, when did you file a notice of appearance, or did you? I'm not seeing it.
I served a notice of appearance and I accidentally didn't file it. I was going to file it today while I was in court, but then discovered that this was a Zoom hearing. So it hasn't been filed, but it has been served.
And did you receive that, Mr. Benson?
No, I haven't received anything. I know that she's just a family friend, but I haven't received anything.
I'm not sure what he means by a family friend.
But just from what Jamie told me, she just said that her best friend Jennifer is an attorney and helps her out with things, and it's a family friend. I don't know.
I'm not a family friend.
Oh, okay.
Well, Ms. Somerville, you are entitled to see these documents in advance. Your testimony or your questioning of your client probably would have been different or had additional testimony in relation to this. So the question is, since they just appeared in the court file today, regardless of what time Mr. Benson filed them on Friday, they weren't served on Ms. Sky or on you. Would you like to have this matter reset so you can review all those documents and be prepared to ask your client additional questions in relation to this, or at least be prepared for redirect testimony on her part?
Yes, I would prefer that the documents be stricken for not being served properly, but if the court's not inclined to do that, I would request a continuance so that I can be served and actually respond, see what he's written and respond appropriately.
It doesn't serve any purpose to strike the documents and go forward without them, because it's just too intertwined. All the stuff here that's involved is just too intertwined. I'm inclined to just reset this hearing and require Mr. Benson to send these documents to you, Ms. Somerville. Let's be sure that we can exchange email addresses here so that Mr. Benson, you can send it to Ms. Somerville. Ms. Somerville, you can send your notice of appearance to him, since he's indicated as of right now, he hasn't received your notice of appearance.
Okay, I can.
Sky versus Benson, respondent, case number 23-000196. We're going to reset this matter to 1 week to the 24th at 9 a.m. All parties were here appearing by video. The reason for the set over is to ensure that all exhibits are exchanged between the parties and everybody is prepared to go forward with all of the documentation, including the court. Service of this order will not be required because, Mr. Benson, you're here and you know that we're resetting it. And I've signed that order this morning. Questions? Mr. Benson, any questions?
No questions.
All right. We'll see you again next week.
Thank you.
Thank you. You can get.
Well, what did you think about that? To be continued, indeed. I will definitely be looking for the next saga or next part of this saga. You know what I mean. It's late, guys. Please don't be a dick. Give the like a click. I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.